Hello, and welcome to Narrative Tales. In today's video, I will interview Kavach and learn about his experience working in computer science. Let's start with your schooling. Could you walk me through your schooling, maybe some of your favorite subjects and things like that?
So I started. I did two schools. The first one I did from class up till class eighth. I was in this school called Ryan International, the Rohini branch, and then after that, in class eighth, I shifted to Saint Xavier's, Delhi. That was in civil lines. That was much more closer to my place. And while since I was a kid, I remember maths being my favorite, mathematics being my favorite subject, and I think I loved every bit of it up until actually there's not been an until. I think I still try to do as much maths as I can. Not a lot, I would say, but definitely I love maths a lot. Something I really loved about uh, doing it was the fact that I could put on music, and then at the same time I could also solve a lot of questions. I could get to try to solve a lot of proofs as well when I was in class 11th and 12th. And apart from that, the subject that I hated the most would be chemistry. In class 11th and 12th, it was really bad. I was really bad at it. Although I had an amazing teacher, but I could not find my interest in speaking a lot in it. Physics was okay, and then another thing I was always interested in was computers. Even at even when I was very young, I remember being in I think in upper kindergarten. That's what we used to. No, Montessori 3 is what we had at our school. Um I would say preschool before grade one. I remember being interested in computers even at that point in time, and I think when I was in class first or second grade, we were taught this language called Logo. Uh, it was a mathematical programming language in which you could give instructions and then you had to move a turtle around. It was a pretty interesting language. I got hooked onto computers, I think, before that only, like around that time only. That's it. So maths and computers were the two subjects that, and I think throughout my school life, I enjoyed them, both of them. And in 11th and 12th, a little bit of English as well.
Yeah. Um, so after that, how did you choose a college and what was that process like?
So choosing college in India, it was so you in India the process of sort of choosing the college starts when your class you graduate from class 10, then you have to choose a stream. Either you can pick science or you in which you're taught mostly science courses. Actually, all of them are science courses, and the other one is commerce, and then there's also arts. So I chose science again, owing to the background, owing to the interest of always being interested in computers and maths, and then decided that I think 11, 10, 12th we have this exam called JEE, Joint Engineering Entrance, and it's for basically getting a good rank enough that you can eventually get a few of the premier colleges of the country, which are the top IITs and a couple of NITs. So gave that, didn't end up qualifying for the JEE main, and then eventually gave an entrance exam for the regional engineering, one of the regional engineering colleges in the city, and then got into the college that I got into, which was Maharaja Agrawal. So I ended up getting there. Stream was again always going to be computer science only because I was very much interested in that throughout. Even in 11th and 12th was the first time when we had a hardcore programming language in the computer subject. Before that, it was always it was more about the subject of computer science was more about knowing how to operate certain softwares on the computer, such as MS Word or MS Access or Excel or trying to program into HTML, which is a markup language, but not a lot of real programming concepts. I think around class 9th or 10th, we were taught this language called Visual Basic as well, in which you could end up programming a lot of stuff for Excel and making small programs for yourself. But yeah, I think 11th and 12th decided when I actually went into programming properly, a bit more properly, and decided that okay, I love this and I want to keep doing it for the rest of my life. So I want to get an education in that. Yeah. So that's how I ended up choosing my college and my course.
Yeah. I have to say, I'm also interested in math and computer science as I go through high school. Math is
Yeah.
definitely my favorite, and computer science as well.
That's 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 nice to know. I mean, I think then you'll have a lot more. You'll have to spend a lot more time on the table trying to get to the problems. It gets much more challenging I mean, for at least for us in India, it did. But much more interesting. I think maths has a rhythm to it, which I think you're gonna love. And if you love computers, I mean, it is well, as people keep on saying, it's mostly the age of AI coming along, and I think the thing that will give you or anybody an edge in the future is the fact that even though you might not need to know a particular programming language in the future if you want to create a particular program or not, but the way the way of engineering or the art of engineering, if I may call it, especially in computer science, it teaches you problem solving from a very different lens than I think how it gets taught in a lot of other fields. Uh, and it's only about, I'm not going to say it is better or anything like that, but it is definitely different. Gives you a keen insight into how processes, how operating procedures, how all of these things get built, and when you get to know how do a particular computer actually functions, how it might be thinking, then you are able to sort of, even if with the AI coming in, you might be able to, even if you don't need to code yourself in the future, let's say, but you will be better at getting the AI to do stuff for you. So that's the insight that it's provided. I think that's why I feel like most of the no, that's why I feel like most of the engineers, most of the people who are taking advantage, maximum advantage of whatever AI is and whatever AI can do, sort of have some or the other engineering bone in it, even if they are not professionally or have a formal education in it. But what I see when I watch videos online on YouTube, or when I see a lot of, or when I meet my friends who are in it, I feel like people who have a much more engineering lens, they are able to crack problems in a much more quicker or in a much more better way. So definitely first thing if you're going for that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So, what was the process of joining your first job like? And what did you do?
So the first job that I had was I worked for this company called, it's a very big company around the world. It's called Accenture. So I worked there as a software developer, associate software developer as they call it. And uh, we were in college, and they came for recruitments. There was an entrance exam of sorts there as well. I gave that, then I qualified qualified the interview, and the entire process. It was very, I would say, uh, it, it, it was very methodical or very programmatic itself in nature, very templated, I might say. And okay, these are the 15 different types of questions that are coming in the exam. So prepared for those. Those are called quantitative quant questions. So I had to prepare for that. Then there was also a section that came on English, in which you need to know how to communicate well. I should not say English. I should say communication actually. So there was a section on that, and there was another section which was on programming, basic concepts of programming. So did that as well, qualified for it. Then for the interview, it was a group interview that I sat in. There were four other guys with me, and we were all sitting together in front of the recruiters. They asked us questions based on our resumes. So yeah, it was sort of an exciting process. That was the first job that I went for, and it's a huge multinational corporation with, I think at that time they were one of the largest recruiters, largest employer of the country. Then the process of getting into the company, which was it itself, and getting trained, it also involved a lot of educational endeavor and training from Accenture's side. We got to learn how the profession. They trained us in a few training modules in which they imbibed us with professional coding practices, and how they are expecting softwares to come through, what kind of a language are they expecting, what kind of an environment will we be working in. So that was that. And actually, while that would be my first job that I went, actually the first job that I would say that I actually went for, the first professional engagement that I count in my life, which I did came basis on which I think I was able to clear the interview in Accenture for by the recruiter, was I started this thing with my few of my college friends. It was called Kavach. It was a cricket fantasy gaming app back in 2016 or 15. I'm blanking out on the date. We had just learned how to program in Java, and we had learned how to program for Android platform, and we just wanted to make an app. We were ripe, I would say, with all three of us, and then the fourth guy was there for helping us out with the communication and managing the app on the platform, and doing a lot of other stuff. But we just wanted to build an app because we had a lot of raw skills, and we thought we could build the world's best cricketing app. So build that with my friends, and that was the first professional engagement. We had a whole business model in it, and we we sort of went viral as well in our own niche group. Like our app was trending at number 2 or number 1 in India for the cricket gaming apps for about a week. We got around 75,000 downloads in total, and we had and so we have this league called Indian Premier League. It's one of the biggest sporting leagues in the world, and around that time we used to get 15,000 people playing on our apps, and we were just college kids, bunch of 4 college kids, and we had a decent amount of ad revenue. We had a very simple model that when the match would happen, before that, you as a player, you as a user would be allowed to lock in your answers for 5, 6 different questions. For example, the first question would be, who do you think will win the match? Who do you think will be the player of the match? Who do you think will take the highest wickets? Who do you think will make the most runs? That would be one set of questions before the match would begin. Then in the half time or in the interval or in the break, you would be asked to fill another set of 5 different questions. And depending upon when the window would open, what are the right answers to those questions, depending a lot upon how the match would turn out to be, you would be awarded certain points. So, and a lot of people, like, there are 10, 11 questions, 10,000 people playing, nearly 10 to 15,000 people playing. There was a lot of chance of collisions of correct answers. So our algo was very simple. Whoever has given the answer correctly but first, got there first, would win. And then top 50 winners, we would give rewards to. So we would actually pay out money. And at that point in time, the way that we had decided, I don't remember the exact amounts because I only remember the top 5. So the first person would get 500 rupees either in their Paytm wallet or in their mobile recharge. And then 250, then 150, then 100, then 50. And then after that, from I think till 30, everyone would get 10, 15, 10, 15, 10, 15. And as a user, if you had more than 200 rupees in your wallet, then you would be able to redeem it as well. So my fourth friend was in charge of, sort of all the people who would send in the redeem request. I remember he would actually send them. We had bought a SIM card on ourselves for our supposed company at that time. He would actually, transfer the money from that to all the winners' phones. So that gave me a lot of that endeavor sort of gave me a lot of experience, and it taught me a lot of things. Taught my friends a lot of team. We got to know a lot of things, simply about programming, just about how Play Store, Google Play Store policies used to get updated day in and day out. And we were programming a lot as well. We added a lot more features as well. We tried live quiz, that didn't work. We had a sporting news section in the app wherein my friend would type in the live commentary, and it was exciting. It was fun, and we had an ad-based revenue system. It was not sustainable, so the ad-based revenue system was there, and eventually, when enough people came in, we ended up, making all the, because we ended up putting in quite a bit of amount of money in the beginning to distribute prizes, and then later on discovered that because the core idea was when people will get to know that people are actually getting rewards, a lot more people will join, a lot more people will join, and with ads we'll get to make. But with the payout in ads is so little. I mean, if you're ever thinking of building anything, don't rely on advertisement as your revenue stream. I will say that. Don't rely on it as making, and which will end up making you the money. It was so little that we thought that we're going to be in this hellhole for naught and we cannot just keep spending. But then there was a lot of rewarded ads that came out at that time that we implemented, rewarded interstitial ad that came out and invented that sort of saved us. And yeah, I mean, it was exciting. It was exciting to do that, and we actually ended up making profit, a lot of profit. And the biggest profit that I think is that all of we were four people who were involved. That got all four of us our first jobs, our first actual jobs. That app got us all four of us. So that was my first job and my first professional engagement, first real professional engagement is how I would like to say it. That it was. Yeah.
Wow, that's really cool. I might have to search up the app. Maybe I'll find some more stuff on it.
Yeah, it's dead now. See, one of the most exciting things that we learned was that there was a time then when we launched, we reached 10, 15,000 downloads, and then we stopped because the season of IPL was over, and cricket is a religion in India. If you're not aware of it, please do look it up. Like, people pray to cricket players as gods only here. So while that was there, so it hit like you peak. If something is getting, you peak and then you plateau. But we did not end up plateauing. We ended up dropping. Like, the number of downloads dropped by a lot. And then suddenly one of the days, because I used to get messages on my phone about registrations. So I had there was this service that we were using for authenticating the user. So anybody who would sign up, particular message would go. So if that message went, that message service would send me an SMS saying that, oh, last day you had 50 messages that were deducted, which would essentially mean that 50 new people have joined your platform, 50 new people have joined your app. So the average was 15, 20 after we hit the plateau, and we were like, okay, this app is going to go this far only, which now that I think about it is very difficult even to get 10,000 users in a couple of months, but we were able to do it. But then all of a sudden, one day I got a message which said, 1,000 messages sent. I was like, maybe somebody's spamming us or something. And I looked at the board and it was like 1,000 people have signed up. And then I asked my friends, can somebody check the DB in the backend and see if we've actually got 1,000 more registrations? And they're like, yeah. And then we started to see, because we also had this section in the app which was called Referral League, which was basically top 5 people in the week who would refer the most would get 250 rupees, 150 rupees, 150 rupees. So what we discovered was one of the guys, he had made a screen recording video of himself on the app where he had registered, he had played a match and he had won and he had gotten 500 rupees in his wallet. He had made that video, put it on YouTube, and when he had put it, a 24 after, and it was a week before that he had played the last match on our app and everything, played the fantasy game, and it was after a week he had made it live, and his title was very simple: win real money, play fantasy cricket on this app. And in Hindi, what he was saying is, these people are actually giving out money. This is not scam. You can make a lot of money. So because of that, we got 1,000 downloads in a day, and for a week, I think we went on about having 7,000-8,000 downloads in total. It was a very huge week. We was very exciting, and that sort of gave us a lot of. I mean, that taught a lot of. We understood the psychology of a lot of consumers of India at that time. That was fun. It was fun. So small little lessons like this. Yeah.
Wow. Maybe I'll do something similar when I'm in college.
Definitely. So yeah.
So, I guess after your first job or during your first job, what's the career progression for a software developer?
If you're asking for a software developer, I think so. When I started working in Accenture, it was late 2017 in December. 21st or 20 or the week 15, 14 December something I joined. I don't remember the exact date, but that week only. At that time, the IT field, I initially, when I started working there, because initially it was a couple of months of training period. And after my training finished, I think it was in March, it was finished. Then we were put on something called the bench, wherein we were not yet assigned a project. And but in the same while, I could see a lot of technologies that were coming up. Uh, Around that time only, I think either it was around that time or it was a year later or something, or a few months later or something, when the whole attention is all you need paper, which ended up being the base for AI technologies, came out. So, and a lot of technologies around ML and AI had started to come, and people have started demonstrating these obscure set of technologies all around the world, which I could see that, you know what, this service sector in the industry of serving of transforming labor, software labor into money, is gonna not run for very long. So I could see that happening at that point in time, and as a software developer, I could see that that eventually for any developer or any coder, it would not be about knowing a particular language or knowing a particular either knowing a particular language or knowing a particular piece of software very well or a particular piece of framework very well. It would eventually end up being more about how they can holistically understand the kind of problem being solved, and any person doing that should know very deeply from the base. I mean, even if you join a company, for any software developer, I would say it would be the money and the career would not lie in the fact that somebody is getting paid just to write code. That is not going to be the future of this field. I was very clear about that, and I wanted to, even if you're working on a very small part, in a very large software, even then you need to holistically understand what is the problem that your software is trying to solve from the very top. Even if you have the least amount of information, you still need to know, still need to talk, you still need to communicate with the team and understand that. So service sector part of the software, which I now feel is something that has sort of is on the verge of getting eroded in the next few years, and that has been the trend in the last 1.5 years, since agentic AI coding platforms have sprung, and they're actually working really well. So I could not see it happening this way. And okay, this something like AI will come. I will not say that. I'll say this thing. I was very suspicious and very keen to sort of see. I was very sure about the fact that the way that currently this company is functioning, or any other sort of this IT sector in India is functioning, this is not going to be the way that the future of work in software development is going to be like. When I talk about the field in general, I will say that there has been some insane amount of evolution since the last few years. I mean, AI coming in has definitely pushed the field forward. And while there are definitely certain traps that people have fallen in, because again, and there's a lot of criticism that around the whole area of vibe coding as well, which is basically you don't know the language, but you just coding it on vibes, basically by telling the AI to just build it and just keep on telling it how to fix it, how to fix it, how to fix it. But I feel like writing a particular piece of language and coding has never, for the smart engineers around the world, even as the field of engineering stands, that's not what the field has been all about. Engineering as a discipline has always been about solving problems, closely related, translating problem from one end of the other spectrum, and see how it interpolates into other different fields, and see where you can draw inspirations and apply those same principles into these. A lot of the whole field, the whole, I will say, uh, the whole paradigm of object oriented programming, it's one of the paradigms, and it is supposed to mirror the real world. So somewhere people have drawn inspiration from the real world and taken, okay, if this is the inspiration in the real world, how would it apply to programming, and they have applied it. Then there's other paradigms as well. People have taken a lot of inspiration. People have taken a lot of when it comes to solving a lot of mathematical challenges. People have taken inspiration from nature. People have taken inspiration from other engineering fields as well, mechanical and electrical as well, and have built like complete simulation softwares on the basis of that, which is like pretty amazing. So the field has always been about that, and I think in the last few years, a major chunk of the population, especially for India, got involved in the fact of just trying to code the problem, and coding is just a small part of it. And with AI coming in, while as an engineer you're supposed to always try to write the best piece of software that you can, especially in this field, or do the best engineering job that you can. But essentially, what's changed is that right now you can get a lot. It has become a lot more about trying to understand a problem to be solved at hand, rather than just knowing how to solve the problem. Like the expertise, the gatekeeping is definitely getting reduced, and that's pretty exciting. I think new kind of challenges. I'm not sure whether new kind of challenges are gonna arrive because of it. I'm sure some will, but I think majority of what it will happen is that the gatekeeping of trying to build new software is going to reduce drastically, which is a good thing. It's going to lead to a lot more software being created, lot more challenges that are going to be just solved because of software. That is one thing. Another thing that's going to happen is that I feel uh, software for the sake of that, certain companies who are just selling softwares which are adding eventually just to the cost of a company, and they are being used just because they are softwares, those are going to erode, which is I think very good, very amazing. The costs are not going to, like, companies are not going to bloat themselves with software just for managing small software. So for example, if I give you an example of a few softwares in HR or like human resource management. I think if a mid-sized company right now who has a strength of 500 people, out of which there are 50, 60 engineers, early on they would need to buy certain like rigorously tested software for managing a lot of their small HR needs. Right now, if they have a small team of engineering team of 50, 60 people, they can get them, they can equip them with AI, enable them, fill them with the confidence, and then they can build those softwares in-house, inherent themselves, and they don't need to end up paying a different company for those kind of software. So I think that's going to erode, which is again going to lead to, well, I think a lot of meaningful software being created, because I think while this will, while in the short term, what's happening with the field, that a lot of bloatware, a bloated software, because anybody can create software right now. Even you can create like great, amazing software. You can launch an app in a week if you have an idea. If it's a $1 billion idea, I would suggest do it. Uh, but a lot of right in the short term, there's a lot of slop, as they say it, that is going to be created, which is bound to happen with any sort of new revolutionary technology that comes into play. But in the long term, it is going to end up reducing the the irrelevant softwares in the market, which I feel will eventually lead to software engineers being valued a lot more, because only a few select people will go into it. So if you have an interest in it, if you have an interest in it, and if you're going to be if you know that you're going to be working really hard in this field, and you have passion and you like maths, you love computers, definitely go for it. The future of the field is gonna reward you very well, because it's gonna keep rewarding the people who have a higher chance, who are on the path to become subject matter expert much more quickly. Yeah, that's what my take on the whole field and the development has been.
That's definitely a unique take because usually you hear that software developers are going to be irrelevant soon and AI is going to take everything.
I mean, yeah, I would say a lot will be taken by AI, but I think it's still going to leave a lot of room for. See, what I feel is that in the past 3 decades, 4 decades, a lot of software got created just for manage. There's a software. There are a couple of software fields which is just about managing the other piece of software, and people are working in that. There are huge corporation built around just managing software itself, which I feel should not be the case, because software itself is supposed to augment. Mostly, it is supposed to augment, enhance, and what's the other way? Uplift and sort of make your work as a business owner or as a business company, whatever your core work is, it should be end up making that easier. So still lot of I think it has, the field might not end up being, software development field might not being a field where a large number of people might get employed, but whoever is going to get employed in it, they're going to make good money. They're going to be and they're going to be the top 20% or top 10% of the people in the field currently. They're going to end up surviving, and they're not going to end up just surviving. They're going to end up being like doing really good in their life. So yeah, it's a good field. If you're interested, definitely go for it, man.
All right. I think that's everything I have to ask you. Is there anything else you'd like to
Okay.
ask me?
Yeah, I mean, I would love to know why are you doing this series of career questions? I'm actually very curious about it. So why are you doing this, and what's your, like, what do you hope to achieve from this?
Yeah, I mean, I think by interviewing lots of people and learning a lot about these careers, I just get a better sense of all these careers and what I want to do with my own career, you know? And I think even if it's outside of my particular area of interest, there's still a lot to learn from other careers.
Definitely, I agree, and I think so. There's this book called The Medici Effect. You should definitely read it. You're gonna love it. Uh, this way of approaching finding the right thing to do and finding the right career to do by you, it's very interdisciplinary in nature, and I think that's a fantastic way to go. Finding yourself and finding what to do, when you could very well end up trying to be something completely opposite. And if you love what you're going to do, and if you end up loving what you're going to do, it's going to be really good. It's a good thing. I really like it, and I hope a lot more kids do this as you are doing this, and a lot more kids explore and take the similar endeavors. Yeah.
All right. Thanks for taking some time to meet with me. And yeah.
Likewise. All right, so thank you.
Thanks for watching this episode of Narrative Tales. If you enjoyed, check out some of my other videos as well.